So I opened my image in the Smart Object. I'm not going to deeply explain what is Smart Object, but very shortly speaking, Smart Objects help you to work non-destructively. So when I open this in Smart Object, I can re-edit the image in non-destructive way. I can change the process I already apply into this image. And how I'm doing this, I can just reopen the image by double hit on the image, and as you can see, I have all of the settings that I did before. So why is it so useful for our editing? Because maybe when we open this once, this is not really important because now we can create new layers and edit. Though, if your image has some discoloration, that will become very powerful, or even if you want to fix the light, this will be very powerful for you. How I'm doing this? We need to copy this Smart Object. You cannot just copy this by pressing Ctrl or Command and J to copy, because when you're going to edit this, you will change all of the settings that you already have. So how to copy Smart Object? Hit right or press Ctrl if you're working on Mac and hit on this layer, and we need to find something, not duplicate layer, we need to duplicate new Smart Object via copy. So we create new Smart Object via copy. So we have copied this, and now we can edit this once again. So I'm going to do this quickly just as a presentation. Imagine you have some discoloration somewhere over here. So I'm going to go maybe to hue, and I want to slightly change the lips color because let's say I feel it's not right. Also, let's go to saturation and maybe put slightly more of the saturation, and luminance, do we want? Maybe just a few points. This is not something I would necessarily do for this image, but for this presentation it's a great example. And now I'm going to hit OK, preparing Smart Objects right now, and before and after. So we have slightly different lips. They're even better now, actually. You can see before and after. But maybe by changing the values, we also affected the face. But let's say we don't want to affect the face. I'm creating layer mask over here. This is white layer mask. I'm going to invert this into black color because maybe you already know that white layer mask represents everything what's visible and black layer mask everything what's invisible. So how to invert? I press Ctrl or Command and I, and now it's invisible. So now by painting with the white color on this layer mask, I can bring the effect that exists on this layer. I'm going to use a brush, flow at 100%, white color I have already set over here. So I'm just going to paint softly on the lips. Just a little bit. I hope we apply an effect. We don't, and I wonder what is the issue, why we're not applying the effect. Let's have a try once again. I'm going to paint around the lips, and now seems everything is working fine. Sometimes it looks like Photoshop is not responsive enough, so I'm just carefully painting around the lips, because what I'm doing, I want this effect to bring up. I want this effect to be only visible around the lips. And as you can see now, with the full control, using Smart Objects, re-editing in camera, I was able to bring effect only at the lips. And you have to know that you can even create more. I don't try to create more than 2 actually, but you could create another copy over here if you would need to work with lights in some specific area. As I mentioned, sometimes you can have some object, for example, some part of the body that has discoloration and wrong hand. Working with Smart Object right now, could help us to bring more saturation to this part, to bring more lights to this part, and would resolve all of the issues. So this is amazing thing about smart objects in Photoshop, and this is the thing that I'm missing when I'm not working in Camera Raw, because this is super comfortable. The thing that fact that Camera Raw has smart objects and how we can fix the things is super powerful and unfortunately irreplaceable with other softwares. So that was the part about Camera Raw. I believe it was useful for everyone who want to start retouching, who want to process the images, and this is the image right now ready for retouching in Photoshop. So as I mentioned before, I'm going to introduce Capture One. I'm working with Capture One. I consider Capture One as a best raw processing software. So if you don't have, I recommend. If you don't want, that's okay, you can work with Camera Raw, but you will see the difference in the next few lessons when I'm going to show you this.